Hello again. It's been a while since I've made a YouTube video. Reason being is mostly due to work. I've got two computers in my room and one of them kind of gave up on me, so I'm using an alternative computer right now to make videos and post them on YouTube. But yeah, it's been a while since I've made a video. Mainly it's because of work. Working a lot and all that sort of stuff, and we all do it. So it kind of makes it difficult and stuff when you work a lot of hours every day. Currently in the process of changing jobs. So let's get down to it. This video is going to be all about music or guitars. Just like in my previous videos, I've got a few videos already out there and stuff, but it's been a while since I made one. And I want to go over a few things, get back to this playing music or learning guitar or getting better at playing guitar. Some suggestions I have to start off with, especially if you haven't ever played a guitar before. So when you are finding a guitar or choosing a guitar for the first time, in my opinion and stuff, since I've been playing for a little bit now, I suggest trying to find something that it should look nice to you at first. The idea of it is you need to be able to pick up this guitar every day, or at least every other day and stuff, and play it for as much as possible and stuff. When I first started and stuff, it was roughly about 15 minutes to a half hour a day. A reason being is because when you're using your fingers, these right here, I'm right-handed, so I play a right-handed guitar using my left hand and stuff on the strings or whatnot. But when you first start playing and stuff, you have all these strings your fingers are sitting there pushing down on. And you're using the tips of your fingers right here to push down on those strings. Well, your fingers are not used to pushing down on those strings, and so it creates a lot of pressure. And after creating some pressure on your fingers, it starts hurting. You can end up causing your fingers to bleed and stuff at first. I do not recommend that. If you start feeling pain in your fingertips, take a break from playing guitar, set it down for a day, for the rest of the day, and get back to it tomorrow. You need to give your skin a chance to heal back up from the pressure you've been applying to your fingertips with the strings, so that way your skin can get stronger. If you continue to play and your fingertips are hurting, you're going to do one of two things. Either one, you're going to end up causing your fingers to bleed, and if that happens, then you got to wait until your finger is completely healed up again before you start playing again. Otherwise, it's going to be very painful to touch the strings. And you can ask anybody, everybody that's been playing guitar, that started playing guitar and stuff, will say the same thing. But if you start getting your fingers to bleed and stuff, it's going to take forever. You got to wait for your skin to heal back up so you don't feel that pressure anymore and stuff, and then go back to it again. Not only that, but if your fingers start bleeding and stuff, you're likely to get blood on your guitar, and you don't want that. I mean, it may have a cool design in the guitar and stuff, but your strings and stuff are meant to be dry. They're not meant to be wet with water or blood or oil or anything else like that. In fact, when it comes to a guitar, about the only thing you want to do and stuff to a guitar to maintain it is replace the strings when they get worn, which that can take a while. Depending on the guitar, the average guitar probably lasts at least a year or two and stuff before needing new strings on it, unless they just break, which I have had one break on this guitar myself before. It wasn't due to that, it was just due to inexperience. But the other thing you want to do and stuff, I've got a small washcloth here I use, and I will simply just wipe things off on it. Wipe the dirt, dust, anything like that collects on it. I got cats, so there's also cat hair. I try to keep that all clean. It doesn't take a lot, just a real quick wipe. But yeah, the other kind of maintenance is keeping your strings tuned in. If you don't know what that means, so the average guitar when you first get it and stuff, most of the time it's tuned in what's called a standard E tuning. And the way you tune a guitar to standard E tuning, or what that means, is when you are plucking the strings on the guitar, each one of them has a sound or a note that they ring out. Notes are, we use the alphabet and stuff to describe those notes between an A and a G. Standard E tuning is basically set up this way. So the top string, and we're going to refer to it this way every time. Some people use different methods, but going from the top of the guitar to the bottom of the guitar, just like when you're reading a book, we're going to start with 1 and go to 6. So the top string being 1, the bottom string being 6. 6 strings right here. Bass has 4 or 5 strings. Sometimes you can end up with a guitar with 7, 8, 12 strings, whatnot. In this case, it's just your standard 6-string guitar, electric guitar. But yeah, so the top string here will always be 1, 2, 3 as you go down 4, 5, and then 6, so forth and so on. We also have numbers for these little bars you see, or divisions right here you see on the neck of the guitar. They're frets. I got little dots right here and stuff to help me. They're on most guitars and stuff to help you break down what frets what. For example, the first dot right here indicates the 3rd fret. The second dot indicates the 5th. Third indicates the 7th fret. All the way down to where you get to these 2 dots right here, which is the 12th fret. But standard E tuning, the top string right here is string 1. We also call it E string. And the reason it's called E string is because when you pluck that string, that's the note it's currently making, is an E sound, E note. As you go down through them, you got E, A, D, G, B, and then back to E. So that kind of helps right there and stuff. The top string and the bottom string and stuff will always be the E strings. Now, if you're using a different type of tuning, there's several different ways of tuning a guitar. In fact, every song out there and stuff has, some can be very unique to their tuning. Drop D tuning, half step down, which makes it to where it's E flat, or the E flat or E sharp. I'm not sure which. It's been a while since I've looked it up, but so yeah, when you're trying to play a song and stuff, and if it doesn't sound quite right, it may be the tuning or it may be the guitar itself. Good example of this. So one of the Guns N' Roses songs I learned a while back. I know how to read tablature. If you don't know how to read tablature, that's perfectly fine. It's pretty simple to understand and read, and that's what I use to kind of help me learn how to play guitar. But one of the songs off that, and I'll play a little bit here real quick, sounds a little bit like this. Now, that doesn't sound quite like the song. I'm hoping you can actually hear it and stuff. If you can't, I will fix that right now. So, whether you get an acoustic or an electric guitar, either one, it doesn't really matter. The basic goal of this is to learn how to play the guitar first. You don't necessarily need an amp if you're buying an electric guitar, but it does have a lot of variety of sounds it can make. Acoustic guitar is the same way. It has its own variety of sounds it can make, depending on the size of the acoustic guitar, the depth of it. There's a variety of different sounds you can get out of every instrument. But with an electric guitar and stuff, most people say you have to have an amp, and no, you don't. You do not have to have an amp to learn how to play guitar using an electric guitar. Before I plug this in, I will show you. So I can sit here in my room and play songs. So I can hear it just fine. There is no amp hooked up to this guitar whatsoever. There's a plug-in right there for it. And as you can see, there's no amp hooked to it. I can hear the sounds just fine. And no, I'm not the best player right now. I'm not even probably a little bit intermediate player. I'm still learning, still training everything. But yes, just in case you can't hear me playing very well, because I'm using a different computer since my old one crashed. I'm not sure how well the audio is going to be on this computer. But I'll hook this in, and this may end up being too much for this microphone to handle. I'll get to the amps that I use later on, but like I said, using an amp to learn how to play guitar, you use the amp to enjoy a different sound, a variety of different sounds, not to learn how to play. That's the amp that I'm using right there, just in case the sound is not very good, with just the guitar by itself going through the microphone that I'm using. Now, here's another thing about that. So, again, I'm using standard E tuning. I'm playing a little bit of a Guns N' Roses song. I'm playing it the way I learned it off the tablature. Now, this is just so I can get my fingers used to moving around on the strings and frets. This is not so much for me to learn how to play the song itself. I say that because I am using the right notes and everything, or using the right positions on the guitar to train my fingers to be faster, timing, strumming, all that sort of stuff. But I'm playing, so this first note right here is a D, the second note's a B, and then E, no, that's not E, it's A, G, G sharp, A again, and then G. Now, in the Guns N' Roses song, or most of Guns N' Roses music and stuff, their actual tuning is a half step down. So in order for me to adjust that and stuff, I would actually have to slide all my fingers up the frets. So when you're going this way, you're going down steps. What I mean by that, so if A, B is a step up, C is a step up, you're actually coming down the guitar this way, which is a step down. You're making the pitch higher. If you're going up a step, and if I don't have that right, I apologize and stuff. I guess this is just kind of a guide to help people out. Do your research, your homework and stuff to fully understand it better. But yes, they are tuning a half step down, which makes it to where this E string right here is actually E flat. Another E would be right here. So that's the third string down, second fret. That's the E. But in their tuning and stuff, it should sound like that, but on that string right there. They're taking tightness out of the strings and stuff to make them a little looser. But so yeah, with when you're picking a guitar and everything, looks is normally the first thing to get your attention. You got a wall of guitars and stuff and whatnot in your guitar store that you're looking at and stuff, and the first thing you grab a guitar for the way it looks, and that's perfectly fine. But a couple other things that you should check out is the sound of the guitar, how it sounds. So first off, make sure it's tuned properly. If you need to ask for help or whatnot, I'm sure there's somebody there that can grab a tuner or whatnot to make sure the guitar's in tune and help you get it tuned if you don't know how. But yes, you get it tuned. I would suggest, again, E standard tuning. There's nothing I'm pushing on right there. That's just open strings to see how it sounds. Every guitar is going to sound a little bit different. This one right here has got a cover that sits right here where my pickups and everything are all mounted. But below this cover right here, there's an opening in the wood. And so that gives this guitar kind of a hollow sound. Now some guitars don't have a huge opening. This one I think has a bigger opening. I've never opened it up to find out. I've got another guitar that doesn't have a big opening right here. In fact, it just has slots made for the pickups and the electronics to slide through. This one right here, if I wanted to change the pickups in it, all I gotta do is take this cover off, buy another cover, cut holes in it, change the pickups, put those pickups in those holes. I can put that cover right on top of here and stuff and play with a different set of pickups. And then I could have this right here cover with these pickups and all this stuff built in with this guitar and another one built in for the other one. Now what I mean by an opening in the way it sounds kind of hollow, even the amp will pick that up too. I'm pretty sure the opening for this guitar comes all the way across down around these electronics down here and back up to here. But like I said, I've never opened it up. I'm not interested in opening it up. I'm more interested in learning how to play it than I am worried about the sounds of it. I said the other guitar, I don't think it has that because it doesn't have as much of a hollow sound to it. Get more of a hollow sound with an acoustic guitar over an electric guitar. By the way, this is, as you can see up there and stuff, this is a Jackson guitar with a what's called a Floyd Rose setup. Floyd Rose setup includes locks right here to lock the strings up here at the top, and a floating bridge down here for minor tuning adjustments. Now, if you're not familiar with this setup, I strongly suggest you ask a lot of questions. One of them can be, how do I tune this guitar? I'm one of those people that didn't ask those questions. So when I got this guitar home and I went to tune it, I snapped this bottom string right here because I didn't know what I was doing. So, first question, if you see one of these setups and you like the guitar you're looking at and stuff, how do I tune it? And they're going to give you a few tools and give you a demonstration of how to tune it. It requires an Allen wrench up here. There's 3 different screws right here. You have to loosen all 3 of these screws up right here, and then you start turning these knobs and tighten and loosen these strings. There's also some knobs down here you can turn from minor adjustments. Now this one I recently tuned, I think it was like a week or 2 ago, because it's, like I said, it had been a couple weeks since I picked up the guitar and started playing it, but so I recently retuned it and everything. Also, the temperature change will cause that too. So if the temperature ends up dropping in the room you're in or whatnot and stuff, moisture change or whatnot, then yes, your tuning may change as well. So getting a tuner when you buy a guitar and stuff is not a bad idea. You can get tuners on your phone, download some apps and everything. I don't know how well those work compared to actual tuners. So maybe even having multiple tuners and stuff wouldn't be too bad of an idea to make sure that they're both working properly and actually agree with each other on the way your guitar sounds. But yes, again, looks. So when you are in the store and stuff, you are looking at guitars, looking at shapes, color and stuff and all that sort of stuff, and one guitar grabs your attention more than the rest of them do. So you decide you want to try it out. When you grab it and everything, and if you need help, be sure to ask for help because guitars are not cheap. Musical equipment's not cheap, period. You can easily get yourself wrapped up in $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 really quick with guitars, amps, speakers, microphones, equipment setup, computers, etc. Now, I'm a firm believer in the way music used to be made. And what I mean by that, I have no problem with the way people are making music these days. I think it's great. I think creativity and imagination, using them both and stuff to create a work of art is beautiful. But a lot of the songs that I used to listen to when I was younger, 20 years ago or whatnot, were Journey songs, Eric Clapton songs, Beatles songs, pretty much more songs from about the 80s. As I grew up, I also started listening to 90s music. Included, let's see, Limp Bizkit, Puddle of Mud, Creed, Seven Nation Army. There's a bunch of them out there and stuff. So if I have to choose a favorite song and stuff currently, the one that comes to my mind right now is American Woman by made famous by Lenny Kravitz. He didn't make the song, but he made it famous. He started playing it. He bought the song off somebody else, started playing it, and it ended up on the Billboard charts. But so buying a guitar and stuff, the looks are the first thing. So I do suggest when you're in a guitar store and stuff, you pick out probably 3 guitars that catch your eye. Keep them in mind. Go with the first one you chose or whatnot and stuff. Put it in your lap. Because besides just the way it looks and being able to play something like that, because I mean that's what's going to catch your attention every day and stuff, being able to play it and everything. You get home from work, or get home from school or whatnot. You set your stuff down, you get something to eat or whatever, something to drink. Which reminds me. Yeah, the first thing you see is your guitar and stuff and how it looks and everything. And instead of it sitting right there just collecting dust or whatnot, because of the way it looks, you're like, man, I really wish I knew how to play that thing. You know, the way it looks and stuff is going to help you pick it up. Just like, example, a car. If a car looks really nice, or a bike looks really nice and stuff, it makes you want to enjoy it by riding it or by driving it, showing it off. You know, guitar is the same way. If it looks nice to you and stuff, you're going to want to play it, learn it, and show it off. Well, the best way to show it off is to show your skills on it, and you'll get a lot of comments on your guitar and stuff. Hey man, that's a beautiful guitar. Or, hey girl, that's a beautiful guitar or whatnot. But being able to play it is the other key to it. So when you pick it up and you sit it in your lap or whatnot. Now, there are multiple different ways to be able to sit and play your guitar. I would suggest a very comfortable position. Once you get your fingers used to playing the strings and sliding up and down the strings, which could take anywhere between a week, 2, maybe even 3 weeks and stuff to get the skin toughened up on your fingers, which is called calluses, to where you can slide your fingers down and pluck the strings and stuff, and it doesn't bother your fingers at all anymore. And you can spend hours, literally, upon days, playing your guitar, which is kind of the best way to learn, just by spending hours every day playing it. Now, if you have other things you have to do besides just your guitar, say you're still in school and you're studying whatever it is you're studying, you can kind of break everything down into groups. So, notes. Strongly suggest notes. I have this entire pad. It's not full, but it's getting there. Full of notes on what I've learned, how I've learned it, tricks to what I've learned, research, songs I want to play, all that sort of stuff. That way you have something to go back to. So what was I working on yesterday? What was I working on last week? Well, a little notebook right there. When I write something down, I find something or whatnot, stuff, I put it in there so I can go back to it. Or how did I do this sort of thing? The website I used or whatever I used to figure it out. But a comfortable sitting position. So you can do multiple things with the guitar. It's got these little pegs. There's one right here and one right here for straps. And yes, I do have a strap, but I don't have it hooked up right now for standing up or whatnot to play. This is my comfortable position. I have my guitar resting on my leg. I sit like this in this position and stuff. That way I can see where my fingers are on the strings. So right now I can use the camera and stuff to see where my fingers are on my strings, but when I'm not using the camera and stuff, yes, I'll be leaning over a little bit, looking at the guitar, have it slightly angled towards me, which is not always the case. I've gotten a little more used to playing the guitar, but I know I'm doing that quite fast for people that are not used to playing a guitar yet, but all I'm doing right now is watching my fingers. Now, I do use picks. There's a variety of different picks out. I like this one right here because it is plastic, but it also has a little bit of rubber on there with those little 3 lines that help me provide more grip to the pick. So when I'm holding it, I'm picking the strings, especially if I'm playing chords, the pick, as it's going through the strings, will flex back and forth and will want to start vibrating out of your hands to where all of a sudden it's gone. It's no longer in your hands, it's flipped off somewhere, and now you got to chase after it. Putting more pressure on the pick does not help so much. This will take some learning and getting used to. I know it took me a while. My first pick I started with was this one right here. It's a thick pick. It doesn't have any flimsiness to it really. But it would flip out of my fingers all the time, which kind of irritated me. It wasn't a big deal. I just had to slide the pick back into the spot. The ideal thing is to get used to just using the very tip of the pick to push on the strings. For example, when you're trying to pluck a string or whatnot, so right there the pick is literally just resting on the string. Now if I continue pushing down, the pick starts angling and stuff, and then it starts sliding off the string. Well, that angle and pluck will eventually cause the pick to want to vibrate out of my fingers. So using the very tip is a good idea. Secondly, I don't have a whole lot of the pick into it, just like I said, just the tip. But you don't have to force down on the string until the string flies away from the pick. So once you put a little bit of pressure on it, if you actually pull the pick away from the guitar, let's see if I can show that real well. So there's against the string, okay? I got a little bit of pressure on the string right there, but if I do that right there, it still makes that sound. So apply that a little bit of pressure. Now you get used to doing that after a while. And when it comes to multiple strings, you get used to just that tip hitting. But also you can take your pick and angle it. Let's see if I can show that real quick. So most of the time people have a pick just like this and stuff, and yes, they are going across like this. But if you actually angle the pick a little bit, it rolls off the tip. And it doesn't want to cause the pick to vibrate, plus you still get that sound. That'll help a little bit right there. Once you get used to it though and stuff, you'll find what works best for you. Now again, I have a variety of different picks right here. Like I said, the one I use most of the time. This used to be a good go-to one. It was very flimsy. I can flex it quite a bit. It's very thin compared to this one right here. You can kind of see the thickness of them right there and the thinness of them and whatnot. But, and you could, every guitar store you go to and stuff, they're going to have a variety of picks. So besides just the guitar you buy, the tuner you get to keep your guitar in tune, which tuning and stuff, but maybe once every 2 weeks, once a month sort of thing. It kind of varies depending on the atmosphere in the room that you're using. If I go from this room to the living room, there's not much of a change. Where in this room and stuff, it's roughly about 70 degrees, roughly. If I go from here to the garage, where the garage is 80, 85 degrees, it's a 15 degree difference. So as I sit out there with the guitar longer and longer and the guitar actually starts warming up, it's going to change the flex of the guitar and the flex of the strings. The strings are going to be warmer, they're going to vibrate a little bit less, all that sort of stuff. And I've done that multiple times. I've gone out to the garage and stuff, had my amp out there, my guitar out there, and just sit there play with the door open and whatnot and everything. And as I'm playing and stuff, I can hear the strings changing as I'm playing. So I may have to retune it a little bit to get the strings back to their standard E tuning. Again, the open strings from top to bottom, string 1 through 6 is starting with 1 is E, A, D, G, B, E. But the other picks that I have not shown off yet. So, a family member recently visited American Pickers, which I believe was in Iowa. I believe it's in where it's at. But they picked up these two picks right here. They're actually not too bad of picks. They got a little bit of texture to them from where they've printed on them. And they're not really that thick. And I've actually used them before and stuff, and they actually work pretty good. I do like them. They're not my go-to picks, but I do like them. They work. But yes, this one right here, and it has the name of it right there on there, if you can see it, DAVA. That's the name of the pick that I get this one from right here. I also have this one right here. This one's very thick as well. In fact, it's thicker than this heavy one right here. But it has grip on it. And I try to show you that grip a little bit stuff in the camera there, but yes, it has some grip on it. It has raised lettering on it. So it's not printed on, but the plastic actually is expanded outwards and stuff to give me some grip through the raised lettering. So, back to this again. Besides just the look, when you go to buy a guitar and the setup on it, make sure you ask a bunch of questions about the guitar and stuff so you know everything there is to know about the guitar and you don't break it or damage it in any way. But besides the look, comfort. The way you sit, the way the guitar sits in your lap, the way you hold it or whatnot. What I mean by comfort is, so the strings are going to be one thing. Your fingers are just going to have to get used to those strings. There are different styles of strings, but I don't suggest changing them out. I suggest you get your fingers used to the strings. If they're hurting all the time too much after about a month of playing or whatnot, depending on how much time you spend, if you only spend one day a week at it and stuff, then it may take a lot longer. In fact, it's going to take a lot longer probably to learn how to play guitar if you're only spending a day on it a week. Whereas to my average, when I play, is anywhere between 2, 6, and 8 hours per day. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't have that much time on their hands. An hour a day is fine. If you spend an hour a day sitting here practicing the guitar, doing that right there, an hour a day, after 2 weeks, you'll get to where you can do that really quick. When I first started, it was really slow. The idea of it is making sure they're all ringing out the way they're supposed to ring out. For example, you take your tuner. A lot of the tuners and stuff, you can clip them on right here or whatnot, and they're angled up to where you can see them. So when you have a tuner sitting on there, and you play that right there is a C note. So the tuner should show a C, or really close to a C. That's a B right there, so the tuner would change to a B. And you'll notice when you're not making a clean sound. For example, there's no sound whatsoever right there. I got my finger on a string, no sound. Now, it doesn't take a lot of pressure. You just gotta push that string just down far enough to where it's hitting that fret right there. That way the vibration's going from the fret to the end of the string line. So yes, comfort. Making sure that if you're sitting the way I'm sitting right here, and I'll show this here in a little bit, making sure that the guitar feels comfortable in your lap, however you play it, whether you're standing up, sitting down, in a chair. I'll show that here in a little bit too. But making sure that your hand easily slides up and down the strings. Make sure you can get all the way across the strings back and forth this way. And so yeah, if an acoustic guitar and stuff is probably going to sit out a lot farther than what this electric one will, but yes, comfort in the way it sits and stuff, because if you're not comfortable sitting with the guitar and doing this for 30 minutes to an hour, then you're not going to enjoy playing your guitar. I don't know of anybody that doesn't like to be comfortable when they're sleeping, when they're sitting down, when they're laying down, when they're standing up. Comfort makes it so that it's a lot easier to sit there and do or learn or practice for hours. Now, I don't suggest sitting there for hours in the same position the entire time. I suggest practicing something for 15 minutes to a half hour, and then get up and stretch. Go grab you some water, get some dishes done, laundry, study homework for a minute or whatnot and stuff. Spend maybe a half hour on it, maybe an hour max and stuff if your fingers have really gotten used to it. Stand up, stretch, do something else for a little bit. Come back to another hour. So when I say that I spend 4, 6, 8 hours a day playing, I'm referring to spending an hour or two and through all the strings like that, an hour or two and stuff. I mean, I may not be doing that for an entire hour. I may only do that for 15 minutes. A lot of people will do these sort of exercises and stuff before they start actually playing, just to get themselves warmed up to it. You know, sort of thing. So every day and stuff, you're going to do a little bit of exercising, 5, 10, 15 minutes of exercising and stuff, just to get your fingers warmed up, just to get your picking hand warmed up, just to get in the flow of the guitar, in the headspace of the guitar. But comfort is key. If you're sitting there and stuff and you're uncomfortable after 5 minutes of just sitting there and stuff, then it's going to make it really hard to play. So comfort. The guitar sitting in your lap, however it needs to be. If you're left-handed, I can't do left-handed very well. Mainly because I'm right-handed, but there are people that have learned how to play the guitar like this. I can't do it very well, but yes, prime example of that, if you do some research on Jimi Hendrix, he used a right-handed guitar and played it just like this, left-handed, because he was left-handed, I believe. And he got used to playing it, because in his time, finding a left-handed guitar was nearly impossible. Most of the time you had to have it custom made, and that was very expensive. And for a guy that was just starting to learn how to play as a little kid, maybe 10 years old, 15 years old, whatnot, I guarantee he didn't have $1,000 to spend on a left-hand guitar. So he bought a right-handed cheap $100 guitar and sat here and learned how to play it like this. And honestly, if you're right-handed, you can learn how to play guitar backwards. It's just the same method. You have to do it over and over every day, all day long. But our primary goal right now is to actually learn how to play the guitar first, get to where we can play some of our songs that we want to learn how to play, and then we'll move on to more advanced techniques later on, which is what I'm currently still doing, is working on learning how to play a little better. I have been actually playing. So when I first started making my YouTube videos and stuff, I believe it was a year ago, I picked my guitar back up, decided I was going to really start working on learning how to play. My first guitar I actually bought was when I was in my 20s. I didn't last very long, didn't play a whole lot, didn't have a whole lot of information. Back in my 20s, the internet was still kind of a new thing. Buying a computer was quite expensive at that time too. In fact, buying a video game console was a much cheaper idea, a couple $100 and stuff, and you can play video games. A few $100 and you can have a TV. Times have changed quite a bit, so it's a lot easier to get access to all this stuff we have. And believe me, there's a lot compared to what there used to be. But you also got to think too and stuff. So Slash, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, all those other guitar players and singers and stuff, they didn't have all this stuff. So how did they create such works of art without all this? Well, I can tell you right now, dedication, focus, a lot of hard work every day or every other day, learning, practicing, getting better, finding what worked. When we play certain chords and stuff, it's not so much about finding out how to play a C chord. For them, they didn't have such things as, well, this is how you play a C chord. For them, it was having to find something that sounded good. Let's see if I can make something up here real quick. And what I mean by make something up, do the same thing that people did before they had the reach capability we have to internet, whatnot, books, other people helping us out. So let's see if I can make something up here that's going to have a little bit of a decent sound to it, like what our elders did back in the day. So I'm kind of making something up, but I'm kind of not. So I'm using what's called a bar chord. This finger right here is stretched across all 6 strings. These 3 other fingers right here are sitting on certain frets. I'm literally plucking the 3rd string to the 4th string. Kind of has a sad sounding song sad sounding note to it, but it kind of works. Now, what about this? It's just a different sound. Okay. Now you would sit there and work on learning all these different things right here to find out what sounds go together real well and stuff, and next thing you know, you're creating your own kind of sound or own kind of music. So we've gone over the look of the guitar when you're buying a guitar, how it works, asking questions about it, how do I tune it, what do I need to do to maintain it, all that sort of stuff. The cheaper the guitar, expense and cheapness. So the reason why guitars have a variety of different values to them, one, the person who made it. If you bought a cheap Hyundai car or a cheap Kia car, the price of that vehicle compared to a cheap Ford car is probably going to be slightly different because of who made it. So a name is one reason why there's a value to a guitar. Secondly, the wood. The wood that's used to make a guitar, well, some of that wood's not the easiest to find all the time. So therefore, there's a little bit of value right there in just the wood itself. This would be a good time to show a few things here real quick while I'm going over that. So, besides the guitar, you buying a guitar, making sure it's comfortable in your lap. I've got a guitar stand. Strongly recommend something to hold your guitar while you're not playing it. Yes, you can sit it on a chair. I got a chair right here behind me. But it's not stable right there. I got 2 cats. If you have dogs, other brothers, siblings, family members, whatnot, they bump into that chair right there. Next thing you know, the guitar goes sideways and falls onto the ground, and it just broke. Well, whether it's sitting like that or sitting over here, they do offer warranties on guitars. So if it does break, normally the warranty will last for about a year or two, whatnot, depending on the warranty you get. Completely optional, up to you. I think the first guitar I bought a warranty with it. The second guitar I bought, I did not. But yes, so sitting on this chair, it's a little more unstable. It's also higher up. Sitting on this guitar stand right here, it's not so high up, and this is designed to hold it, so it can't go sideways because of these bars up at the top right here. They have a variety of different ways you can rest your guitar while you're not playing it. They got wall mounts, as long as wherever you live, they don't mind you putting a hole in the wall. I strongly suggest you find help for that too, because from what I know, something like that should be mounted into a stud in the wall, if you know anything about mounting on studs. Guitar cases. So while I'm showing you this, I'm going to also show you this as well. So I sit on a stool. Okay. There's nothing around my arms or anything like that. Where this chair right here that I use, I do sit in this as well, but it has these armrests right here. So I have to sit on the edge of the seat right there to hold that guitar and play it. But it's a more comfortable seat than what this stool is, which is also why I suggest getting up every so often. Stretch your back out, whatever. Now, this stool has these bars right here. That's not very comfortable on the feet. So when I'm playing, I do have my shoes on, flip-flops, sandals, whatnot. Something to support your foot while your leg is on that bar. Okay? And now your leg, or my leg, is sitting flat right here and puts the guitar at just the right height to where it's comfortable. My foot's down like this and stuff, the guitar sits lower, and it also may want to slide down my leg. When it's like this, my leg is level, very comfortable. So I showed you that. Guitar case. You can use a guitar case to store your guitar in. Probably about the best option there is. Now guitar cases can range anywhere from $50 to $200, $300, depending on the guitar case. You can have them custom made, custom built, look however you want. But you can take the guitar case, put your guitar in here, and store your guitar underneath your bed or wherever. Somewhere where even if the case does fall over, there's less of a chance of it getting damaged because of it sitting in a case. Also, being in the case and stuff, it's likely to be a little more protected from humidity. Humidity can cause the guitar to warp, the strings to get wet, rust, whatnot. Now, the other guitar that I have is this one here. That one's a Jackson. This one is an Ernie Ball, Music Man. Now, Ernie Ball, you may recognize the name and stuff because Ernie Ball is also a string maker. They're one of the bigger names and stuff when it comes to making strings. Is there a difference between these guitars? Yes. This one has different pickups, a different style for the strings. There's no locking nut right here, no floating bridge back here. The wood's different. This one's the one I said and stuff. I don't think it's hollow inside. I've never taken it apart, so I'm not 100% sure. But I'm sure that I believe it's just cut out just for these pickups with a bridge underneath this plastic right here for the wiring to run down and through to there. Also, it's got a black neck to it. I believe they call this a rosemary neck. I may be wrong on that. Double check that, but yes. It's got a different style neck to it. It's got the same kind of wood, well, close to the same kind of wood in the back. It's all finished, all polished, but there's another type of wood right there sitting on top. So 2 different types of wood right there. The strings may be a little bit differently too, but most of the strings of this stuff tend to be average. And as you can notice, now when I play this guitar and stuff, like I said, it doesn't have as much of a hollow sound to it as what the other guitar does. But here's the main difference in it, especially when it comes to comfort. If you look at these 2 guitars, specifically where the neck starts. Okay, so this finger right here, that's where the neck starts on this guitar. This one right here, I can't really get to it very well. It starts right there, okay? Which makes it to where this one, no, sorry, wrong finger. This one right here is actually a longer guitar. The body is longer, and the neck is farther out because of the body being longer. Where this one is, this green or black and white one and stuff is not as long, so it's a shorter bass guitar. If I stood them on the ground, now there's not much of a difference there, but there is, especially if you're looking at them through the camera. So this one stops right there where the locking nuts are at the camera. And they're both sitting on the ground in the same spot, but this one right here stops right here at the first fret, which means you gotta stretch your fingers a little bit farther on this guitar. And that difference can be dramatic, especially depending on how long your arm is. So make sure when you first you're finding a guitar based on the way it looks. The second thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put it in your lap, sit on a stool, sit on a chair, whatnot. I suggest sitting with it and stuff, that way you don't accidentally drop it. But you're going to sit with it in your lap and stuff and see how comfortable it is to hold that guitar and play it. And then the third thing you're going to do is be listening to the sound. Like I said, this Jackson guitar right here, this one right here, had more of a hollow sound to it, where this one right here does not. There's a difference in that sound too as well when I plug them into the amps, one compared to the other. So besides just the sound right there when you're sitting there playing it without the amp, maybe even try plugging it into an amp. You ain't got a big amp, just find a small amp and stuff, plug it into or whatnot, give it a try, see what they sound like. So the 3 main key elements for grabbing your guitar every day to practice and play it: first, the look; second, the sound; and third, the comfort. Those are the 3 main elements. If it doesn't look nice to you, you're not going to really want to show it off. You're not going to really want to play it because you don't care for the guitar at all. If it's not comfortable, you're not going to be sitting with it for very long because you just can't sit in that position for too long at all. And if it doesn't sound right, you're just going to get irritated trying to play a song and stuff that you can't get to sound right. So, after you've gotten all that done, you finally found the guitar you want to play. You've gotten a guitar stand or a case or whatever and stuff, somewhere to put the guitar when you're not playing it, when you're at school or at work or whatnot. You picked up a tuning tool, or you're going to use your phone or whatever and stuff to keep the guitar in tune so it sounds right to you. Also, key element there is sound. When you're learning how to play guitar, not only are you teaching your hands what to do, timing-wise, where to go, how to be there, when to be there, how long to be there, but you are also training your ears. If you can get used to those sounds that you're making on a guitar, over time, it will tell you when there's something wrong, when a sound doesn't sound the way it used to. So teaching your ears how these sounds are from right there. Later on, when there's something wrong, you will notice it right off the bat. At the same time, once you get your ears used to the way these sounds are, you can readjust your strings and get it really close to the proper adjustment as far as tuning is concerned without a tuner. Now, if you grab a different guitar and stuff and you're not used to the way it sounds or whatnot and stuff, you could probably still get it pretty close, but a tuner helps a little bit. So, yes, the guitar, the tuner, that way you can train your ears properly from the get-go. A few picks. They do sell them in baggies, like this. That's the original bag I bought back 20 years ago. Still have some of the picks, so as long as you don't lose the picks and stuff, you're only gonna need buy one pick, like that, 50 cents, 75 cents, whatever, or maybe two picks and stuff, $1.50, whatever. One of the cheapest things about buying a guitar is the pick, replacing the strings, and having extra strings doesn't hurt either. Granted, you probably won't need them right off the bat, but if you end up breaking a string the first day you get it home, you won't have to wait till the next day to go and get strings if they're closed. So maybe even buying an extra set of strings for it. That wouldn't hurt either. But if you're on a tight budget and everything, I would suggest picks, guitar stand, and that'll pretty much be about it. Now, do you need a pick to play this guitar? No. I use a pick because I just find it a lot easier. Can I use my fingers? Yes. Now, I'm nowhere near good with using just my fingers. Also, there's a different sound using your fingers. So find out what the sound is you want to make. Do you want to use your fingers for the sound? Or do you want to have the pick sound? Pick sound? Now, most people will use just their fingers and stuff on acoustic guitar, and use picks and stuff on electric guitar. It doesn't really matter. And you can learn both methods, even finger picking and stuff. I'm not very good at this myself yet. See how much a lot easier for me. I've so far trained myself to do this right here, and I'm still working on improving it. Now again, just in case you can't hear that very well, since I've shown you everything else here, I'll go ahead and plug this into the amp. That way I'm sure that you can hear it no matter what. If you end up getting an amp, I would suggest starting off with something small. Just make sure it works. Now, how do you know it works as a beginner? Well, you really don't. You can take somebody's word off of it and stuff in the store if you want to. Brand new amps and stuff, less likely to have any problems to them, but there is still a chance of it having a problem and stuff right from the manufacturer. No different than a car. You buy a car off the showroom floor and stuff, you get it down the street, 1,000 miles later and stuff, something goes wrong with it. Perfect thought behind that, you put brand new tires on your car, you go down the street, and one of them blows out. Why did it blow out? You don't know. Straight from the manufacturer and stuff, Firestone, Goodyear, whatever. But you didn't even need 1,000 miles on that tire and it blew out. So now you're either calling a tow truck or you're limping the car back to where you got it from to have them replace the tire. Most of the time I'll replace it for almost next to nothing. Especially if you have a warranty on it. They may prorate it, which that's a totally different story, but... so yes, if you're on a tight budget, the value of the guitar and stuff, who makes it, is going to be one thing. The kind of material it's made of is going to be another thing. The electronics in it will change the value of the guitar. Cheap electronics, expensive electronics. And yes, there is different kinds and stuff. I suggest doing your homework on that and stuff to determine what that means. What's the difference between this pickup, and this pickup? Or the pickups I have on my other guitar and stuff, which are completely different ones. What's the difference between the strings? So as a beginner guitar player and stuff, you don't know what you're looking for. For example, I didn't have any idea. And in fact, if I was to go buy another guitar right now and stuff, there is one guitar I would like to buy and stuff, just because of the fact that it has nothing to do with the sound, nothing to do with anything but the idea that Michael J. Fox played it in the movie Back to the Future. And they're both kind of the same guitar, but either one, an Epiphone, which I do not have one. I used to have one. It was a very cheap one. That was my first guitar, a $200 Epiphone. It would look more like the one back there. It had the silver or shiny or chrome or whatnot pickups on it and stuff. But the one that he's using in that one movie is has a different style to it than what I had. More of a Gretsch guitar style. Do I need it? No, not right now. So it's more of a long-term goal. I'll save up money for it. I'll eventually get it. But right now, I'm not as concerned about getting that guitar as more as I am concerned about learning how to play the guitars that I have now. This one right here valued around, I think, $600. The other guitar I have behind me and stuff valued more around $1,500. And the only difference between the two guitars, the length of the guitar and the sound that it makes in here, because of the way this one's designed. Will one help me learn how to play over the other? No. Learning how to play and stuff is all about me, not about the guitar. As long as the guitar's in good shape, it's just about how much time I sit here and spend yes, I am kind of showing you a little bit different techniques and stuff of how you can play it, but what does an amp actually do for you? Well, as you've seen right there and stuff, if I have the amp off, I can still make these sounds. You just can't hear them as well. How can that be beneficial? Well, if my door is closed and I'm in my room by myself playing my guitar at 3 o'clock in the morning and everybody else in the house is asleep, I'm not disturbing anybody. I'm sitting here playing my guitar and no one can hear me. That's a benefit right there. You're not disturbing anybody, especially if you have somebody in the house that works the third shift and they sleep during the day. Sitting in your room with the door closed, playing your guitar with no amp, you can hear the sound, but they can't. So you are not disturbing them at all. And amps are about the same way as far as value is concerned. The name on the amp is one value to it. The electronics in it are another value to it. I got 2 amps here. One's a Marshall, the other one's a Line 6. The intensity of the amp is the third value to it. So the Marshall I have here is a DSL 40 Classic. It has tubes in it. It's about a 50 pound amp. So yes, it is quite heavy. You can get a setup for your guitar to plug into your computer. That would probably be about a cheaper way to go at the start. I believe there are apps or programs or whatnot you can get downloaded into your computer and sort of make the same sounds, but then it's going to vary. The sound's going to vary depending on the speakers you're using on the computer, as well as possibly not just the speakers, but the sound card in the computer. So keep that in mind if you go from a guitar with no amp to a guitar with an amp, to a guitar using a computer. But if you want to record sounds and stuff, then you have a lot of options right there, between the amp having its different sounds, the computer having its different sounds, the applications or programs you can download onto your computer to create different sounds, and then the playback from it. You're going to notice a huge difference going from using the computer directly to record, just wire into a computer, and using a microphone against the amp to record into the computer. There's going to be a huge difference in sound, especially when the amp can make its own sounds very easily. Now the other Line 6 and stuff, it's a Spider V240. Now these are both kind of big amps. They're both about 40-50 pounds each. Actually, I think the Marshall, which is a smaller amp, is actually heavier because of it being a tube amp over the Spider Line 6, which actually has 2 bass speakers in it, but it has smaller electronics in it. It doesn't have any tubes in it. It's what's called a solid state amp, where the tube amp is heavier, but it picks up a cleaner sound. It is literally just amplifying the sounds that I'm making with the Marshall tube amp. And that right there is roughly about 1/4 to 1/2 of volume level on the Marshall amp. Now, can I make it quieter? Yeah, I can make it quieter without touching the amp. Lighter picking. Without the amp, it's very quiet. You probably can't even hear that. Do I want to get it louder? Now with the amp, huge difference in sound. So all we're doing is changing sound. We're not learning how to play guitar this way. We're just kind of having fun and changing the sound. Here's something else for you. Now I changed the setting on the tube amp. That is what you would call overdrive or distortion sound to it. I don't have any pedals, but all I'm doing is turning on the lead channel on the amp. Went from a standard channel to a lead channel, and it does have a couple other different settings on it and stuff. But that's I didn't really make any adjustments to the treble, the bass, or whatnot and stuff. But that same sound right there, without that. Now, like I said, I haven't been playing it for forever. I took a huge break and stuff this past year because of work, which I would probably be a lot better player if I actually stayed playing to it that entire time, but because of so many hours at work, I was never able to pick up my guitar. I would literally get up about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, grab me something to eat, something to drink, head off to work, be there until about 7 p.m., get home about 8, get something to eat, try to get a shower, get ready for bed, go back to sleep. There was no time whatsoever. I did not like that. I did that 6 days a week. It provided some money, but it's not what I love doing. Now, this is where the cloth comes in play. Because of my hand resting right here and stuff, the oil off my skin will rub off onto the guitar. So I simply wipe it off right there and stuff, and it's back to normal. I can also sit there and wipe the oil off my skin right there, and be back to normal. It's also where it comes in handy and stuff to stand up and stretch. Or grab something to drink. I know this video is running quite long and stuff, and I'm not too worried about that. This is so far an hour-long video. And I'll make more videos too and stuff. Like I said, I already have a few videos out there and stuff showing a bunch of this stuff already. But I'm just kind of demonstrating the benefits of... So, here's another thing. An electric guitar. You buy an electric guitar and stuff, you notice how quiet it is when I'm playing it. You may not even be able to hear it very well. But if there's other people in the house and stuff, you don't want to disturb them because they're sleeping or whatnot. It makes it really great with an electric guitar without the amp. Now, an acoustic guitar, it's going to have a sound to it. Being it's got that hollow body and stuff, it's going to pick up the sounds and make it loud. And then you can buy an amp with that if it has an electronic plug-in to it and stuff, and you can make it louder. So there's another thing to consider when buying the guitar. But even an acoustic guitar and stuff, if that's what you're looking for over an electric one, I would still take the same steps. Find out what catches your eye first. Put it in your lap, try it out. Find out if it's comfortable in your lap. Does it sound good in your lap? Can you play it? Can you move around just fine on the strings? After a while playing your first guitar or whatnot, once you get to where you can play some of the chords, some of the strings or whatnot and stuff, and I'll get to how I've learned how to play all that too, that's when you can, and I do suggest picking 3 guitars and trying all 3 out. That way you have kind of an option of what feels the best, what looks the best, and what sounds the best to you. Try to put all 3 of those bests into a single category of this guitar or that guitar. Don't pick just this one because it looks the best, but it doesn't sound as good as that one does. But it doesn't feel as good as that one. Try to find one that matches all 3 of those categories. Looks, sounds, and feels. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem when you go to play and try to learn how to play the guitar. Once you get to where your first guitar that you buy that fits all those 3 categories, and you're getting to where you can play a little bit of these songs right here. Let's see what's that's a little bit of Dream On. But yes, once you get to where you can start playing that song all the way through, and you're getting really good at it and stuff, and you're like, okay, I would like an actual different guitar or another guitar, see what another guitar sounds like, or find an amp to go with it or whatnot, stuff, see what it sounds like on an amp. That's when your options open up. And that's at this point in time and stuff, it's probably been about 6 months to a year, and you're getting a little bit good at playing your guitar. And hopefully during that time and stuff, if you decided you wanted to buy or invest more into a guitar, which I say this because, in my opinion, it's what I do. So, I am, with the guitar, investing in myself. I am investing in myself to have a skill of playing music that I can enjoy, that I love, because I do love listening to music. So it's making me a better person, more of a unique person to many others out there. And if any of you beginner guitar players and stuff understand what that means, so if you're a beginner guitar player currently at my level and stuff, I have a little bit of a unique skill over you guys. But once you pick up your guitar and you start learning how to play it, you're going to be matching my level because you're going to have that skill as well, which is going to make you a little bit more valuable than other people that don't have the skill to play guitar. But they have their own values in their own ways. So learning is how we invest in ourselves. Doesn't matter if it's schoolwork or whatnot. It's a value you create for yourself to make yourself more of an asset for other things. You can never go wrong if you're investing in yourself. If you're always sitting there playing video games, you have an investment in knowing how games work. If you're watching TV, depends on what you're watching. Cooking shows, maybe yes. Educational shows, maybe yes. But sitting around doing nothing, you're not investing a whole lot of anything into yourself. People that even exercise are investing in their health. So that's where I see this as being a very beneficial thing for anybody that wants to pick up a talent, playing piano, playing music, studying whatever in school. You're investing in yourself, and that is the best kind of investment you can get. I say that because I used to be really bad about gambling, and I got past that finally and moved on to this right here. Gambling did not pay me anything. Didn't matter how much I won or lost. I couldn't use that for anything else. This I can. This can carry on with me for the rest of my life. That couldn't. Anyways, besides that. So, I think I'm going to end this video, take a short break and stuff. I've been sitting here for a little over an hour now and stuff, and it's time for me to take a short break. So, my next video and stuff, I'll get more into learning how to do different things on the guitar. So, until then, enjoy your day.